Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name's Mark Krebs. I'm a gold qualified consultant with Team Sunset. I've been with Archer and Evolution Travel just one day shy of 18 months, but I've been doing this for 9.5 years. So I'm very qualified to teach this class about booking domestic and international flights. There is a lot of information in this class, and it is an open Q&A as well. So if you guys have questions about how to do something with your bookings, please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask your question. I like to get those questions out during the recordings as well. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. A lot of times you're going to hear people say, don't book flights only because there's no money in it. Well, that's actually not true. There is money in booking flights only. You just have to charge a service fee because 99% of the time you're not going to get commission on those flights unless it is part of a package deal. I know with some river cruise companies, you get it with Apple Vacations, in Vax, anything in Vax with package deals, you will get a little bit of commission with your flights. But if you're booking just a flight only, you're not going to get commission. However, I am going to show you a website called Centrav. If you haven't registered for it, you should, because you can get some commission on international flights, and I will show you how to do that. One of the first things that I like to do, though, we're going to start out with domestic flights. One of the first things that I like to do is I like to compare prices. So, and there are several ways that you can do that. You can go on a website like flights.google.com, Skyscanner, or you can even look on Evil Rewards and compare the flights. You want to compare at least three sites, plus the airline itself. Now, when you're looking at these other sites like Google Flights or Skyscanner, you've got to watch out and make sure that you're booking directly through the airline and not a third party site. The reason for that is because your clients could get bumped if you book on a third party site because they're going to see it wasn't booked direct through the airline. Um, it was booked through somebody else, third party. So you've got to be careful with that. So if it's a full flight, your clients are going to be the first to get bumped involuntarily. Now, there is compensation for that, but usually it's not the greatest of compensation. So let's just take a look at a domestic flight here coming up relatively quickly. Let's just say I am going to Detroit for regionals this coming weekend. So let's just say I haven't bought my tickets yet, which I have. So I'm going to look at Google Flights and see what the best fare is going to be. Now, one other trick that you can use if you're going to be doing multiple flight searches is do this in an incognito window or a private window. So let me show you guys the trip that I'm actually taking. I'm flying out on Delta at 5 a.m. on Friday morning. I have a 31-minute layover in Minneapolis. And then I get into Detroit at 9:10 a.m. Okay, so this is my actual flight itinerary. So I'm actually going to pull up my flight on delta.com and compare this price to what I paid for it the other day or a couple of weeks ago when I actually bought the tickets. So let's just see what Delta is going to say for this same flight. So they're going to say the same price. And for the return flight, it's the same price as well. So $7.99, they round up to the nearest dollar on the flight. Let's see what it actually is. $798.40. So let me log into my account and we'll see what I actually paid for it a couple of weeks ago, because the closer that you get to those flight dates, the higher the cost is going to be. So you want to try to book these flights as far in advance as possible. So we're just going to view my receipt. And you see, I only paid $527.40 for my flight when I bought it way back on September 1st. So a $270 difference versus buying it last minute. Now you can compare it. Let's look at Centrav and see what they have, because you can compare it with Centrav because they are a wholesaler and they may have seats available on these flights as well. So let's just see if they have this exact same flight. So they have this exact same flight for $798.40, the same fares. Plus they add a service fee. Since they're a wholesaler, they actually add a $15 service fee to all of their bookings. So you've got to remember that. So their fares are going to be $15 higher than what the retail price is. So they're booking at the exact same published fare rate. Now, if they had a wholesale rate available, it may be higher, it may be lower. So you've got to remember that. Okay. But you can see you can do a published fares comparison up here. United would have been $693. American 709, Delta 773 is the cheapest that they have for this last minute flight. Does that make sense to you guys right now so far when it comes to looking at domestic flights? Now, the way to make money with these flights is that you're going to want to add a service fee to these tickets. And the way I do that is I charge my clients $25 per ticket for domestic flights and $75 per ticket for international flights. The reason for the price difference is because we do more work on international flight tickets because we're going to be the ones putting in the passport information. We're going to be the ones putting in the visa information for our clients. We're going to be the ones making sure that all of that information is uploaded to the airline's websites to make check-in smooth, to make customs as smooth as possible for our clients. We're going to be doing the research on the visa requirements for our clients and everything. So there is more work to be done on international flights. Now, if there's a change involved at all after this has been ticketed, I charge $100 change fee because that means there's more work for me to contact the airline to do the change for my client. And then I will actually have to charge them an additional amount on the change fee on the fare. And then I charge them an additional $100 because of that extra work that I had to do, researching for the change, processing the change, or if they wanted to add on extra seats to the flight or upgrade or something like that, that costs money, that takes my time. So I charge them extra.
Hi, this is Harold.
Yeah, Harold.
Do you tell them this up front, or do you have a form that goes out to them letting them know that you have an extra fee for changes and there's a fee for domestic or international?
I absolutely have a service fee form. I am very upfront with my clients. I'm going to actually put it into the chat box right now so that you guys can download it and use this um, at and use this as an example for what you can use. It's a 4-page document and it has terms and conditions and everything in it. So I've put it into the chat box for everybody. Feel free to download it and use it at your leisure. Just copy and paste and put it into a Google Doc or a Word doc. And go from there. So I also charge, I won't double charge them this, but I also charge $25 for land booking research and $50 for international booking research. So domestic and international, I have service fees for that too, right up front, because it's taking my time, and this weeds out the lookers from the bookers. If people are truly going to be booking with me, they're going to pay that fee. So, and then on top of it, I charge a 10% service fee of the entire trip price to make some instant commission instead of waiting. So those are my fees. And you can run your business however you want. But that is what I have established in the 9.5 years that I have been doing this. And I just established the change fee rule and then the additional research fees as of August 1st of this year. But my service fee of 10% and my flights booking fees have always been there. Any other questions about fees or booking domestic? All right. So let's take a look at an international flight. And you guys are going to see what I mean by how much more work you have to do with international flights. So we're just going to go back to Delta. And I really like to book direct with the airline. That is my preference because I know that my clients are not going to get bumped off the flights. So, what I like to do is what you want to do, and I'm picking a small country in Germany because I know that there's going to be a layover in Frankfurt with this trip because I've already booked this for a client of mine for earlier this summer. So I already know what the layover is going to look like. And I want to show you guys something that really makes sense. So when you're booking international flights, you need to be very, very aware of layovers in the country that they are flying to. If there is a layover, and in this case, it would be Frankfurt, Germany, because they are flying to Dusseldorf, you want to make sure that you have at least 2 hours for that layover to clear customs. So I'm just looking for a flight here that's going to go to Frankfurt and not Charles de Gaulle Airport or Amsterdam. No, we're going to go to United for this one because that's who they flew on. Okay. So it's searching, and I check all the airlines. So I will check American, I will check United, I will check Delta, I will check JetBlue if it's going to the Caribbean. If I have clients on the East Coast that are booking it. I never, one of the things that I never do is I never book basic economy. Never. Because it is the most restrictive fare. Okay. They do not get to choose their own seats. They do not get to board first. They will board last. They get the least amount of overhead bin space. So there are so many benefits that they get by booking regular economy or the fully refundable, or if your clients want that premium economy, book them in that because that would give them more leg room, wider seats, that sort of thing. And if you have questions about what the fare costs are or look like, all you have to do is usually click up top here, or you can just go back to the home page and go to about my trip and look at what class cabin or what class seat you're looking at. So for this one, we're going to look at premium economy. But I'm going to change this back. So when you're looking, going back to what I was saying about the layovers, when you're looking, you want to give your clients at least 2 hours. Okay. An hour and a half just isn't enough time to clear customs, get your bags, recheck them, go back through security. Okay. So you want to give them at least 2 hours. I don't like this flight because it's 7 hours and 20 minutes. That's a really long layover. I don't like this one because it's an hour and a half. This one here is doable. And it's not, and it's the same price. So 3.5 hours, and I can live with that. So we're going to select premium economy for that one. Are you kidding me? Okay, we're just going to go flexible dates. Lufthansa must not be running that route at that time. There we go. This may work better. And sometimes you get error messages like that, and you just have to ask your client, are you okay with a layover, or are your dates flexible? So I kind of like this flight here with the 3 hour and 50-minute layover in Munich. So I used to work for United, so I know the airport codes like the back of my hand. Some I have to look up, but most of them I know. But this one's going to Munich, Germany from Chicago. So this is just fine. 3 hours and 50 minutes. That'll give them plenty of time to clear customs. So we're going to select that flight. And now we're going to select their return flight. Now, this is one that I want to make clear. When you're coming back into the US, definitely make sure you have at least 2 hours. At least. The longer the better, especially if you're coming into Chicago, if you're coming into Atlanta, if you're coming into any of the New York airports, the longer the better. Dallas Fort Worth, same thing. These are all very busy airports for Customs and Border Protection. So it takes a little bit longer. So this one I don't like. It's an hour and a half, hour and 25 minutes. This one I like. It gets them in late, but that's perfectly fine. They don't have to leave Dusseldorf until 11:05 a.m. So you just select that one. And you're done. You just put in your traveler info, and then you can add all of their, if they have TSA pre-check or clear or anything like that, you have all of that available. Put their frequent flyer numbers in, and then just click on continue, and then you book the trip. So does everybody understand how to look for an international trip and that extra work that goes into it?
Hi, this is Harold. Yeah, I'm getting that now because
Yeah.
I have one that's going from Minneapolis to either LAX or Dallas Fort Worth to New Zealand. And you're saying once I get into those hubs, either LAX or Dallas Fort Worth, I should make sure there's at least 2 hour delay.
No, because you're not going to have to deal with customs there if you're going to there. Now, if they're leaving out of Minneapolis and they've got a layover in Dallas or LAX, try to give them an hour for sure so that they can get to their next gate. But if they're coming back from Auckland or wherever in New Zealand,
Yeah, Auckland.
make sure that they have 3 hours
Oh,
to
so
clear customs.
to come back, I should give them more.
To come back so that they can clear customs at LAX or Dallas. Yes. What airline are you looking at?
Most of them are coming up American.
Okay, that would make sense going to Auckland. So let's take a look at this all together. So because this is a good training exercise here. And we're going to look directly at AA.com.
Yep, and I looked at AA and it seems like it's the same price as the Centrov and Expedia Tap. And there's another one I don't have off the top of my head, but they're pretty much like $50 apart.
Okay. So let's look at Centrav 2 because I'm interested to see if they have a commissionable rate. When are they leaving?
January 24th.
When are they coming back?
Uh, February 11th.
How many people?
4.
All adults?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to want to keep consolidator and published fare types checked. Okay, and then just click on search for fares.
And it seems like Centrov is higher than the other ones. It's definitely higher than going directly with the airline.
Right, but the reason for that, again, they have that service fee that they tack on. But you see, there is a commissionable fare.
And that
So
does not, that price does not include insurance, or is that all?
correct. So you would actually receive $120.60 in commission on this one if you were to book it direct through American. But I can guarantee you by doing it through my method, you're going to make $300 in commission with the 4 international tickets that you're going to be booking. So that's more commission that you do not have to wait for. It's instant commission. This you would have to wait for until it's ticketed. And then you'd
Oh,
have to wait.
charging them up front for looking for it. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. When you book it for them, say there's going to be a $75 per ticket service fee because this is an international trip. It's a ticketing fee that I charge. $75 per ticket. So I'm going to charge you an additional $300 for this trip. So all in all, they're going to be paying. We'll take a look at it here. 24. 24. Let's just see what they're going to be paying here. Do they have a preference on class of service, economy, business, first class?
The economy.
Okay. That'll make life easier as soon as these flights come up.
And I think it was like 1069 per person.
Okay, so that's actually going to be close to what Centrav has.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could actually make $520.60 or $420.60 on this because you can still charge that instant commission and book the commissionable rate, commissionable published fare in Centrav.
But if they go looking themselves, they're going to be much less by going through American.
Well, we're going through American right now, and it's going to be $11.56 round trip per person.
Yeah.
So let's just see what it comes out to. Yeah, so they're going Dallas Fort Worth to Auckland on the way there. And then on the way back, they're going to go Dallas Fort Worth. So let's look at the connection. You just click on details to look at the connection. 7 gets in at 7:57 a.m. That's perfect. 3 hours and 20 minutes. So they're perfectly fine with this one. We're going to stay in main cabin. 462120. 462120. So you're going to make, you could book this through Centrav and make $420.60 in commission. You just have to tell them that you have a ticketing fee of $75 per ticket for the service fee.
Okay. So are there any outside of Centrov and I've come to realize Expedia Tap is the same price as Expedia. Is that an accurate statement?
That is an accurate statement because we're booking direct with Expedia. However, I do not like booking flights through Expedia because of the fact that you are booking through a third party still. And
Okay, so that's a third party.
that is still a third party. Even though we have a partnership with them, you are still booking through a third party. So your clients could still get bumped off of their flight if in the case of an oversold flight. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go back to my Delta flight and I'm going to show you guys what's actually going on with it. Because I've been watching it and I've been watching it fill up and fill up and fill up. And I'm expecting, honestly, I'm expecting this thing to keep filling up further and being a sold out flight by the time I get on Friday morning at 5 o'clock. View seats. So I used to work for United, and airlines will oversell flights because they expect a certain number of no-shows. So if you guys can see this, this flight only has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Hey, I got my full row back. Awesome. 13 seats left on it. Okay. Let's say the airline sells 20 more tickets for this flight and they're anticipating that there are going to be 10 no-shows. If every single person gets onto this flight, they are going to bump the people who are either traveling on an employee pass first, because employees get to travel free. They're going to bump the people who are on the basic, most restricted fares with compensation. They're going to bump the people who bought through third parties, like through Skyscanner or flights.google.com. They're going to bump anybody who bought through a third party like Expedia. So that's why I don't like booking through Expedia. I would rather book direct through the airline because that lessens your chance of getting bumped and of your clients getting bumped off the flight. Now, in my case, if there was compensation offered, no problem. I can take a later flight to Minneapolis and get to Detroit later in the day. That's not an issue for me because I have nothing going on Friday or Sunday. So, same situation on Sunday for me. But I've got a similar situation with my flight in Minneapolis. It's full. So, and then on the way back, my flights are nearly full. So, that's why I find it very important to book direct with the airlines, guys, instead of booking through a third party, because it lessens your chance of getting bumped or your clients getting bumped. Does that make sense?
Is Centrev considered a third party also?
No, because Centrav is booking direct to the airline.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, Centrav is a wholesale consolidator that books direct with the airlines through their GDS, their global distribution system. So it is not considered a third party. All right. Are there any other questions today, guys?
And I'm guessing too, the same would hold true through American Airline Vacations, United Vacations, Delta Vacations, so forth, right?
Correct. Those are direct to the airline. You have no problems booking through them.
Okay.
What about, because I was on another Zoom of yours, and you had mentioned, I think it was downtown something.
Downtown travel.
Yes.
I just had somebody put that into the chat box. So any of our like all-inclusive providers like in Vax and downtown travel and all of them, they book direct through the airlines as well. So they're not considered third parties because they are packaged in with the hotel and the resorts. So they're not considered third parties. So you guys can use them. Now, the nice thing about packaging with Vax and with downtown travel or the cruise lines, you will get a commission on that. So usually it's like 5% of the airline fare, of the airfare. I know with Silver Sea, it is 5%. I know with on the waterways, it is 5% if you book air through them. So there are cruise lines that if you package a deal for your clients with them, you will get commission on the airfare portion of it as well. Are there any other questions?
I think you answered it.
All right. Well, if you guys do have any more questions about flights, I'm going to put my Facebook information into the chat box. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, or if you can't find the follow button, go ahead and friend me. I'm also going to put my YouTube page into the chat box so that you guys can subscribe to the page. This recording will be going up onto the page tonight. So if you guys have any questions or need a refresher, I do have a second recording from last month as well. So you guys can watch either one of the recordings. If you need a refresher on flights, feel free to go back and watch them. So, but if nobody else has any questions, I want to thank you guys very much for joining me tonight. And I hope you guys learned something. But again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Mark Krebs. I'm a gold qualified consultant with Team Sunset. Thank you guys very much for joining me on this beautiful Tuesday evening. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Don't forget, Founders Call is tonight at 6:30 Pacific time. David McCovey will be sharing the state of the company with us, and regionals are this weekend. So if you guys aren't registered to go, get registered. Head over to your regional meeting. You're going to learn a lot of great information there. But if I don't see you guys on the beaches of the world, I will definitely be seeing you guys at the bank soon. Have a great rest of your evening.